Welcome to another edition of Real Talk TV. We coming to you live from the undisclosed studio of Real Talk Television. I want to say good morning to you. It's Tuesday, October the 3rd. Certainly a lot going on, and we have what we call a short, abbreviated show in the sense that we don't have a lot of information today because we had a full weekend recording a lot of different things, attending a lot of events, and in my capacity as a videographer, it's so much going on. So I want to thank the people who've been supporting Real Talk TV. This is a new endeavor here live on AOC Community Media. In some cases, it's pre-recorded, but most of the time we're going to be live, bringing guests in and talking about different things and different subject matter. So if you want to call in, and actually this show will be rebroadcast later on today. It's on social media live, on YouTube, on Twitter, and other different platforms we're going to disclose later. So much going on in the news today. We know it's election season, and it's what we call over here at Real Talk TV, a season of racism. Election season, a season of racism, because of the candidates who they have on the ballot are no more than what we call the MAGA type candidates here in South Louisiana. We have an Attorney General, Jeff Landry, who's running for office. We have different candidates who are carrying the mantra of Donald Trump. And again, Donald Trump is not really the smartest person, but he's certainly the symbol of the racist agenda that's going on in this country. And there are some of those who want to just reverse things back to the 1940s and the 1950s in a sense. You know, you have people who want to change the curriculum in schools to somewhat push back on true black history. You want people who wants to stay in office to wield power, even so that they are less than that population they are governing. So we see a lot going on. Also, police brutality is back in the news, like always. I had a chance to attend the rally, Ronald Green rally, for the family of Miss Mona Harden. It was very enlightening. But sometimes you ask yourself, and we want Miss Mona to keep on fighting. We want those around her to keep on fighting. But you got to ask yourself, it's deja vu. It's Groundhog Day. We've been here before. I've been on the steps of the Capitol with my cameras, filming and bringing it back to AOC. So how long are we going to be doing this when it comes to police brutality? I want to also talk about the Baton Rouge Police Department. There was an article that came out about Baton Rouge PD a while back. And it involves Police Chief Murphy Paul in his let's say, understanding of what's been going on with the Baton Rouge PD. Now, I'm gonna play the clip. It's in its entirety in a minute. But I want people to understand that this thing with Murphy Paul has been going on right under his nose. So I want to take him at face value. I know. Community activist Mr. Chambers actually came out and said that the chief said he didn't know about that. Well, we could play his speech when he spoke before the press about that. So I'm gonna try to go to the clip now, and we could restart it, and you could see it's in its entirety.
I asked my team to prepare this press conference because we promised the community transparency and accountability, and we are delivering on that promise today. Before we dive into the details, I want to express my gratitude to the exceptional men and women of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to your oath to protect and serve our community. Baton Rouge is an amazing city with more wins than losses. And the Baton Rouge Police Department is progressing. Our actions today are to maintain the status of moving forward. I do understand that my delivery yesterday during the city council meeting may not have represented to some my role as a leader. But I do not apologize for standing up for what is right. Although my passion may have offended some, that was not my intention. Please understand that my passion comes from my connection to the city and wanting to see it win. It also comes from the fact that no matter what I did for a living, I will always, always protect my family. That is who I am, and I know that is who most of you are. Let's be crystal clear. There is no room for misconduct or unethical behavior in our department. No one is above the law. And that includes members of our own department. As you know, we are currently conducting an administrative and criminal investigation regarding the now disbanded Street Crimes Unit. We have also enlisted the help of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice to ensure a thorough and unbiased examination of these matters. And we are fully committed to delivering just that. Today, I will provide you with the latest update on one of our criminal investigations. We are conducting a thorough investigation on the other complaints, but there are findings. And today, you're going to hear about accountability. In August of 2023 of this year, I assigned our intelligence unit to investigate a complaint I received from a concerned citizen. That complaint was related to an incident that occurred on September 28, 2020. And it involved several Baton Rouge police officers assigned to the Street Crimes Unit. The incident occurred inside of a bathroom at the Baton Rouge Police Department's 1st District Precinct, located at 4445 Plank Road in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The allegations are that a male subject who was under arrest, and while he was under arrest, there was an attempt to do a strip search inside of that bathroom. There were 2 officers who were inside the bathroom who used their department-issued tasers in an attempt to get the arrestee, a victim, to comply with their requests during the strip search. During this incident, a street crime officer was observed striking the arrestee, who's the victim, causing a package to fall from the anal area, from his anal area, which is believed to be synthetic marijuana. Due to that taser being armed, the taser sends a signal to the body camera, and that department-issued body camera was activated. The officers didn't realize that the body camera was on until after the incident. An officer was then directed by a supervisor to show them what was recorded on the body camera. The footage on the body camera was viewed by way of an app, a mobile app called Axon View. It was used to view the recording. According to our investigation, we learned that a supervisor believed that the contents on that video were violations of our policy and excessive use of force. and then directed an officer to get rid of the body camera so that the evidence could not be downloaded in the docking station. A plan was then made to cover up the incident and get rid of the body camera. Based on our investigative efforts, 4 officers were charged. We, after meeting with the district attorney's office concerning our investigative efforts, our investigators went to a judge in the 19th JDC and 4 warrants were issued. 1 on Corporal Todd Thomas for malfeasance in office, simple battery, theft, and obstruction of justice. 1 for Deputy Chief Troy Lawrence Sr. for malfeasance in office, principal to simple battery, principal to theft, and principal to obstruction of justice. A warrant was also issued for Sergeant Jesse Barcelona, malfeasance in office, principal to theft, and principal to obstruction of justice. A warrant was also issued for Corporal Douglas Schutz for malfeasance in office. Let me emphasize that we take these allegations seriously, and we remain committed to the justice and well-being of our community. Accountability is not just a word, it's the fundamental principle of how our profession operates. When misconduct occurs, we will acknowledge it, we will confront it, and we will rectify it. This process starts with holding those responsible accountable, regardless of their rank or tenure, and it's exactly what we're doing. No one is above the law, and that includes members of my department and my staff. But accountability doesn't stop there. True reform requires a close look at our practices.
There you go, people.
Policies, as well as our
You just
culture.
got true listening to Chief Murphy Paul of the Baton Rouge Police Department. He was talking about the Brave Cave situation and where he stands on it and so forth. And, I want to side with my brother Gary Chambers on maybe the chief did not know that, but then again, I don't know. But we got on the line someone who knows all about police brutality, incident with police. We got none other than fresh off of speaking at the Ronald Green rally on last week, Reverend Raymond Brown of New Orleans, and I think in some capacity part of the Urban League.
Yes.
Good morning, Reverend Brown. Welcome to Real Talk TV.
Yeah, I'm in partnership with the National Urban League. And I appreciate you for bringing me on.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with the whole deal, I just don't believe that the police chief did not know that abuse was going on.
Right.
Okay, I really don't. You know, I really believe that, and also his subordinate, those who are in his commanders in chief, knew that this been going on. I mean, it ain't no secret that police hate black males. We know that. Right. That's no, and unfortunately, it revealed itself through torture, intimidation, and racism. So we say, well, it was black. Oh no, well, like Attorney Benjamin Crump said, black officers too, both, all of them. You know, we fight against police brutality regardless of race. But then again, I take note that the black officers are following in the footsteps of the direction of their counterparts, the white officers, who continue to oppress us despite all the struggle we have fought and we have raised awareness. I mean, every police officer in this country should have learned from George Floyd. They should have took note. First of all, as a man who have been involved in law enforcement, you cannot use force unless force is being used against you. And then you cannot use excessive force against someone. If I'm running from you, I'm pulling away from you, I'm moving your hand away from me, I'm trying to get away from handcuffs, You're not supposed to beat somebody who is trying to flee a police officer. Because if I'm fleeing you, I pose no threat. You only can use force and reasonable force again when somebody is using force against you. In this situation, it was not happening. Go ahead.
Well, Rev, you know, you've been experienced and you've been on the ground floor with all the big names when they had those incidents, and you coming from a situation where you grew up at in New Orleans, Louisiana, if I could say where you at, you know how the history of things in the New Orleans PD. You know, I remember when they had one of the past chief, he killed before that, he killed a lady who was to testify against him. Yes.
Exactly. So if you're talking about the Kim Grove incident,
yes,
where Davis, whatever his first name is, Officer Davis sent out a hitman to kill her to cover up his police brutality complaint that she made against him.
Wow.
And it was caught on tape. FBI been following him and wired the phone, tapped the phone and caught him sending out a hitman to kill her. And unfortunately, you know, she got killed standing up for justice. Now, I want to say this here. In the city of New Orleans, I got to give Malcolm Suber. He's an activist, a renowned activist. He organized marches and demonstrations against police brutality way back in the early 70s. 71, 72. I mean, back when protesting police, we call it terror, was not popular.
Right.
And police officers, you think it's bad now? When police used to kill black people back in that time, there was no investigation.
Right.
They say, oh, we looking at it. 2 days later, the police chief, DA, judges, all was in cahoots. Now, you still have some of that stuff going on today.
Right.
Like in the Ronald Green case. Ronald Green case.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were there.
Exactly.
And Reverend Brown, I have to be critical of not of people who want to fight, but in general, it's that deja vu. How many times you have been on the steps of the courthouse? I mean, of the state capitol. How many times I came with my camera to capture that? It's like we keep doing it over and over again. And the thing I want to highlight. I have a clip, Reverend Brown. I have a clip, Reverend Brown. I'm going to just say this. I have a clip. The only person who ever came to those events when I've been challenging, I've been on the local radio calling out the politicians, calling out the people to urge these people to come out to just at least listen. The only person I saw, and I'll highlight that in my clip when I'm going to play it later on in the show, Cleo Fields was up there. At least he came to listen. And when Cleo Fields been in politics, you know, and where our elected officials that supposedly want our vote, why they were not there, you know. Go ahead.
You know, they're afraid of the powers that be. And they make an oath and they swear uphold the Constitution of the United States, foreign and domestic. But when they get in there, it actually is bought and paid. Oh, don't go out there.
Right.
You know, your election coming up, you might want to run for something. And you're going to need massa money. So that's how it is that our majority of our black elected officials need help. And it needs to be pulled to the side and say, look, you know what? You're taking advantage of black voters, and you're using white folks' donations to win these elections, and you be holding to their demand. Then some of them just lazy. There's no pressure on them not to speak out against injustice.
Right.
They're just lazy, and they don't care about their own race.
And
They just tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no white people pressuring them not to go out and speak out against injustice.
Right. Right.
Okay? They just lazy, don't care, and don't have, they don't have the people at heart. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They sellouts, traitors, backstabbers, tap dancers, and all this stuff, And what I'm saying is that they got to realize, that you selling out your people, we cannot rise above all this chaos that we have in our community. But yes, if we look at the Ronald Green case with Mark Muriel, the National Urban League funded my mission to go to Farmersville, Louisiana, which is right next to Monroe.
Right.
People don't know where that's at.
Right.
And I met with the DA, Belson, John Belson,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know that the charges he was bringing against them was mount to nothing.
Right.
Until, because he hid the indictment. He actually hid the indictment on what he was calling for the indictment from the public.
Mm-hmm.
We found out after the indictment was handed down, and most of it is garbage. Malfeasance is all the obstruction of justice, and that's going to carry no time. And then, if Jeff Landry wins, the state attorney general going to pardon everybody.
Right.
Every police officer that went to jail for police brutality in the state of Louisiana will be freed. Because Jeff Landry is a pro-police conservative, him and Donald Trump. And this is the reason why I tell people, I have nothing against Jeff Landry personally, but our political views are like east from the west.
Well,
we don't see. I'm for liberation.
I got a somewhat extreme view of Jeff Landry. He's a avowed racist to me because he's come from my area.
And the only reason why I'm talking like that because, because I don't want, cause any kind of way to impede upon nobody, program.
Yes,
because I know that we have a right. We have a right to speak our mind.
I could unabashedly say that because I knew of him. If you remember the days of Sheriff Charles Fuselier. Remember Sheriff Charles Fuselier?
Exactly. But I know one thing, that he's a part of the white supremacist movement.
Right, there you go.
I can tell you that.
There you go.
And because anybody is running, they say, the media jumped to it. He is running first. Well, when you psych people up to believe that Jeff Landry going to take the race and they're going to, when you brainwash people to believe they vote is, their vote don't work. It's not worth going and vote.
The only thing,
then they feel,
the only thing, Reverend, I respect about them, those white supremacists, they mean what they say. We as a coalition, and our numbers are coming up, but I don't look like, so they have figured out how the less people can govern more, just like they're gerrymandering all those districts. And Jeff Landry is a person who's carrying the mantra like Trump. He's carrying it for the white supremacy is at stake right now. And white supremacy is about the election.
Let me say this thing.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. Okay. Now, you know about the death penalty that the governor is talking about.
Right.
Pardoning all those on death row.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, he had to give the families of the deceased and the DAs a chance to rebuttal. That's what you call due process.
Right.
But at the same time, the legislature, conservative and some Democrats, quickly said, we're going to file a lawsuit blocking from but you look, but if it was police who killed people and he said he was going to pardon them, it would have been a whisper. They wouldn't have talked about it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So he was a white person being pardoned for killing a black person on death row, they wouldn't say nothing. And my thing is, so we have two systems. We can't have two systems of government, of justice system. Can't have two justice systems. One black, one white. You remember Benjamin Crump said it at the rally. So you can't have two systems of criminal justice system that act, one for white folk. Now let me say this here, it's very important that people hear me out there. I found out that the president have gave his Attorney General Marlin the go ahead to appoint 3 special prosecutors. You mean tell me you can't find one for the Green case?
Wow.
Okay, so you know I can't throw out names, but I'm gonna talk in the general. Why can all these civil rights leaders who got these huge names get together and go and set up tents? I go out there and we protest the Justice Department and we protest the president and we tell them, look, we are not trying to force you to do anything. But if y'all can appoint special prosecutors to prosecute Trump, then you can appoint one to prosecute cops and kill Ronald Reagan.
Right.
That's all we're saying.
Well, Reverend Brown, you think
That's all we're saying.
You think the rally itself was more something to make a statement before the election? Because if it was, and it's not the people that organized it, if it was something that was pushed to be done, I don't think it had an impact on the election.
Well, this is what we got to understand. First of all, it had nothing to do with that. I think that Benjamin Crump really wants a special prosecutor. And I think that it had nothing to do with this crazy election. But there's nobody in this election that I really favor.
Right.
Okay, Sean Wilson. Who is Sean Wilson?
From Lafayette, we did give him an invite to come on the radio station platform that we did, and he never took it. I'm just saying he never took it.
I've been involved in the struggle for years. I never heard his name came up at anything.
Apparently, he's
I'm not saying that.
Governor Bell, that was as his transportation director for many years.
I understand that. I'm talking about civil rights, human rights.
Right.
All the protests we've been involved in.
Right.
I'm not saying he didn't show up at the MLK celebration.
Yeah.
All of them do. Even white supremacists show up.
That's true.
You got a known white supremacist running for state senate in St. Bernard Parish. I can't even pronounce his name. He's a state representative now. That's the one who said something about if we take something out of the schools, we'll get rid of racism, some kind of stuff he said.
Yeah.
Then he came back and say, I was the one who passed a bill that the kids can learn Dr. King I Have a Dream speech.
Right.
My thing is, the kids don't need no curriculum or I Have a Dream speech.
Yeah.
Anyway, whoever this guy, I met him 3 times.
Right.
But whoever he is, I met him 3 times, that state rep. But whoever he is, I'm telling you like this here, Jake, he is running for the state senate, St. Bernard, part of St. Bernard and part of St. Tammany Parish. Because go from St. Bernard to St. Tammany, they connected. But this is what I'm saying. That these white supremacists and these lazy Negroes, and I'm not calling out Sean, like, because I know he's running for office and he's going to get back to y'all. Who was this Reverend Brown? And Mark, who is Brown? Well, Mark knows that I have a right to speak my mind. All I'm saying is that Mark, I don't know Sean. Might be friends with Mark.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, Matter of fact, I saw him at one of our events.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is that the issue is not Sean Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, can Sean Wilson actually beat Landry? And if Sean Wilson can't beat Landry, he's the black vote. We need to get rid of him and get somebody that's better than Landry. That's all we're saying, Jay.
The problem with in our community and the people who are not MAGA Republicans or even so conservative Democrats, we think getting along with these people, appeasing them, going to get us somewhere. We've been appeasing in the state of Louisiana. That's why we can't even have the congressional map drawn up correctly. We've been abusing people for so long.
Jay.
Go ahead. Well,
my goal is to really get rid of Landry, right?
Right.
All right. So you got the former Secretary of State running.
Right.
Whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Him. Then you got another guy running, they calling him a racist and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them spending a lot of money. Then you got this other guy, Hunter.
Right.
Hunter talking about environmental stuff. He talking about helping prisoners get a GED and a job skill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. And Sean Wilson is talking about how he built highways and bridges.
Right.
And somebody can take him apart, because actually Sean did not give minorities major contracts. Mm-hmm. So they can say, well, Sean, you was there, but you didn't give name me any major construction contracts that Sean gave out.
Mm-hmm.
Name me some. I'm not saying pave no little sidewalk and, subcontract. I'm talking about a major contract. And I'm not coming against Sean Wilson on this show. All I'm saying is that we need somebody that's going to take him out, Landry. And right now, Sean can't do it. I hate to say it. The reality is that if Sean make the runoff, we're going to be sitting somewhere waiting for Landry to get the...
A lot of Negro types, they love Landry. A lot of Negro types love Landry. I've heard the mayor of St. Martinville, Louisiana, who's an African American. Someone called me and asked me, "Did you hear about him endorsing Jeff Landry?" I said, "Well, that's to be expected because of the demographics of this area. A lot of people still have that plantation mentality. They want to appease these people. That's all. Let's get along, brother Jay. Let's get along with these people."
Let's be honest, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
In a small town where you live and here, can't say just out there, but here too.
Yes.
Okay. Many of these people have not really got a hold to the knowledge of black nationalism and black empowerment and black culture. They actually live off of whatever come go. So these people come around and help them out with little hot dogs, and they have little rallies, and they come there and they get hugs and pictures and all that. And they put them on their campaign trail, and they get out there, and these preachers and different people like that, and they give them a little money, and they tell them, well, if I win this election, I'm going to be open up to help you. I never did. I ain't backing nobody from governor. All we saying is that come December, whatever, or January, we don't know when the next election after the October, I think October 14 or something. After that election is over, then if there's a runoff, we know that it's going to be difficult to beat Landry. They have not taken on Donald Trump. They can hurt Landry if they take on racism and injustice. You understand what I'm saying, Brother Jay?
They don't want to
if
do
they
it.
take on...
Not in this state. We can't say, we have to use AOC to say the word white supremacy or racism. We barely could say it on radio stations around here without any upsetting the apple cart. People are scared to say white supremacists. That's what the whole election on a national and local level in the state of Louis is about: white supremacy, white people staying on top, other people in the middle, and black people on the bottom. According to Brother Darrell, he's always right about that.
Yeah, listen to this here. So we need a white candidate. You know, like I said, the Secretary of State, I forgot what his name is. You probably can look it up while I'm talking. Him and this got another white guy. They say he kind of racist, though. I don't know.
Right.
His name is floating around. They need to hit him, and they scared. They got conservative white voters who like Donald Trump. They think Donald Trump somehow going to take this country and bring it back to Jim Crow.
Yeah.
And they somehow
worse than that.
somehow they're gonna get in power where we gonna be saying yes sir and toting buckets and getting on the other side of the sidewalk and
all
throwing
activists
up
gonna
in
be
jail.
jailed. You know, one of the chilling things he keeps saying, jailing activists, people who speak out. That's the chilling thing about Donald Trump.
Exactly. And going after activists and bragging about I protect the statues and all that. You know, a Confederate statue, when they went after Confederate statues, I proposed putting them in jail for 11 years. How can you put me in jail for 11 years where there's no law? Everything got to be by law. You got to have a law on the books that say if I tear down a statue, it's 0 to 11 years. You cannot just assume because you president of the United States, I can get 11 years. I think it's up to the DA, a judge, and the laws on the books that determine what kind of time you get. But Trump threw the number out there. 11 years if you tear down the monument of Robert E. Lee and some of these statues. But my thing is, nobody challenged him. Everybody's quiet. Even Sean Wilson is not saying anything about these racist statues.
That's what I was saying.
Injustice. He needs to come out there and need to speak out. You don't need that. Tell him.
All that appeasement after even after the fact does not get black folks in the black community, progressive liberals, don't get them anywhere in the needle. Because Louisiana been like it was even when the so-called Democrats, which more conservative Democrats wanted to say, and John Bell, that was is just one step away from being a Republican. People don't understand that.
Exactly.
You know,
and I got
Reverend Brown, Kyle Ordway, the Secretary of State, Kyle Ordway.
Yeah.
Another right winger.
Right. Now check this out. Check this out. They had to force this governor, activists, me, you, all of us, had to speak out against them putting them kids in jail.
Right.
In penitentiary.
Right.
On death row at that. From hot, steaming hot, no ventilation, no activity, no air. You throw them black kids in there, majority black, might have one white, or they always throw a little white kid in there so they won't say it's all black.
Right.
And we did to force the juvenile justice groups had to come together and force a Democratic governor to move them to a better place.
Well, I'm sitting with an article, Reverend Brown. Where, I'm sitting with an article now in the Louisiana Illuminator. Go to that website, check it out. The Louisiana Illuminator got some interesting news stories, always on point. It says, the headline says, Louisiana moves incarcerated girls from Angola to from another institution to St. Martinville. The youth advocacy, the churn as evidence of systematic problem. Well, they had problems in St. Martinville.
Right.
They had to move them to Angola and to other places. So why are they playing gerrymandering, much like they're doing with the election, with these young people?
Because it's money. It's a money deal. And it's a bit, they bit on, let me load this air conditioner now. They bit on what jail has got the highest bid, got the lowest of the highest bidder. And my thing is, these sheriffs of these towns, they need the money. So they'll touch it. Governor, I'm your friend, sir. Can you send them over here? We can really use that group. I mean, right now things are down. My thing is, I'm just talking like them.
Right.
My thing is, that's what it's all about. It's a money gamble.
Right.
Even when they sent them to Angola, Angola Warden should have rejected it. Said, well, look, if you send them over here, Governor, I'm gonna have to resign because no children belong behind balls on that road. You know,
Right.
they haven't been tried yet. They haven't had due process. You don't know they're gonna be found innocent or guilty. These people have not been given time yet.
Right.
Okay, many of them are still waiting. I mean, you are cut up too. There's no recreation. The food is bad. The visitation is bad. It's hot in these jailhouses. You are cut up too.
Right.
Okay, jail is not ain't no paradise.
Well,
You understand what I'm saying?
a lot of people counting on Jeff Landry to change that. He's the law and order candidate. Actually, you're going to see incarceration rates, which Louisiana was supposedly trying to get away from, going to see it double once he take office.
But you got to understand something. He can't be effective if the DAs don't go along with it. Okay? I'm just saying, you got to put it all into perspective.
Look
That the DAs around the state, which many of them is flawed.
Right. Well, look for him to put in provisions like Florida. What DeSantis is doing, he removing people that don't want to cooperate. He that's a good playbook on his part, but it's not gonna last with him.
Give the governor the power to remove elected officials. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life.
But it's happening. It's happening.
It's the most ridiculous. It's the most miscarriage of justice that I ever witnessed in my life. When a governor can come and say, "You incompetent. I'm removing you," when you are doing a competent job. Okay. Now they're trying to take away. Remember, they were talking about taking away the power in Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
All of this.
It's the same playbook.
Go ahead.
Same playbook Jeff Landry could try to use. Reverend Brown. You could try to
Yeah,
use that.
but my thing is, we done gave Jeff Landry the election. I mean, what can I do? You got these lazy politicians. You use the voice of those who are willing to speak out. You use our voice. You put fund in there and say, look, you're going to say stuff I'm not going to say.
Right.
And you're going to be able to shake the tree. So here, take this here, go and shake it up. But no, they don't want to be traced back. If they donated some money, as you know, Jeff Landry refused to go to a forum where the Urban League was co-sponsor. That I want to take.
Right.
Okay.
He
refused to go to a forum that was co-sponsored by the National Urban League.
He basically already telegraphing people how his administration gonna be, and for
it's gonna be racist.
A lot of our black folks to understand. If he did that with the Urban League, and the Urban League is not as hard as some of these other groups out there. You know that, Rev.
No, it's not.
And
you know, but you see, this is what I did. This is what I want to say. And I talked to Mark about that. Okay, Mark brought me on board. You know, because the Urban League have a tradition of focusing on being well funded and jobs opportunities.
Right.
And stuff. They never really was involved in a lot of political stuff like elections and hot rhetoric. When I say hot rhetoric, I mean calling people out, even though it might be true. They don't use the word, well, Landry is a racist and stuff like that.
Right.
But in my position, when I'm speaking and I'm representing the Urban League, and I already talked to Mark, I'm going to be very discreet on what I say. Now, I believe that Landry is connected to some white supremacists.
Right.
That's my position. And he's going to show up some black support before it's all said and done.
Oh, yeah.
Some black folks going to hold a news conference. They got a guy doing the commercial for him, not black.
Well, he had an attorney from Lafayette, a black attorney, and I'm not gonna mention his name this round, but the black attorney worked for him. He had the second highest position in the Landry administration in the Louisiana Department of Justice, and that was supposedly when Alton Sterling case came up before the attorney general. Now that person had a chance to make a move on the Alton Sterling case, which is the open and shut case, and he didn't do it. So what happened to that person, he got himself in some hot water with some sexual harassment allegation, and so he basically had to resign. So look for those type of Negro types, and I say it, Negro types, who don't have any love for their own community, don't have any love for the color of their own skin, to even when they have positions to change things, to say, Jeff, we know this is out and out. They think of you as a racist. Well, why don't we do something to show them that you are not a racist? But these people want to appease people like Jeff Landry and those others.
Well, this deal, right? If you call somebody a race, then and they bring you to court for liability, for libel. And say, call me a racist, blah, 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 blah. You're going to have to walk in court and prove they're racist.
Well,
I say,
if it walks like a racist, talk like a racist,
no,
it is a racist, Ralph, from my perspective,
I understand. I say associated with known white supremacists. I believe that Trump is a known white supremacist. And I think that Landry accepting his endorsement, he can bring me to court. And I said, Landry, say why?
Well,
and I'll tell you.
He might want to sue the organization you represent.
Of the United States support the Confederacy. And these Confederate statues that we know that are aligned with white supremacist ideology. We know this. There's no other way around it.
And
when you see a Confederate flag, you think about racism.
Right.
And by the President of the United States being associated with these white groups like the Proud Boys and all that, the Oath Keepers, all these groups that fight against black power, if Landry will stand up and support the support the Proud Boys, he'll support the Oath Keepers, Q9, all these right wing groups that he is tied to. The daughter of the Confederacy. Have him to denounce the daughter of the Confederacy in the state.
Well, Rev, and to me, that's just my opinion. Racism is a concept of a person, and I don't think, and I would challenge anybody to think they can't sue you for calling them a racist, because if you in those circles acting the way
no. What I'm saying is that
they are racist,
No, this is what I'm
saying.
saying.
My perspective.
This is what I'm saying. In a libel lawsuit,
right?
We call it defamation of character. Libel.
Right.
If they ask you, you got to put down quotes and stuff he said that align him to being a racist. But one thing I do know, he is associated with racists. Now he can bring me to court right now. Or do you support the daughter Confederacy? Yes. Okay. You associated with racism.
He support Donald Trump. He's an election denier. He denied that. Nobody asked him nothing when they had the debate here in Lafayette. Nobody asked him, do you believe Jeff Biden is the president of the United States? He's an election denier. His group, the National Attorney General Association, he's was a part of the hierarchy of it. They financed those people to go to Washington, D.C. He should have been looked at by the feds.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, if you've been doing something that skirt racism and skirt,
so what we're saying is that, right. Well, what we're saying is that we got evidence that Jeff Landry is associated with racists.
I'm looking at it on my screen now. Who is the
And,
chief racist?
and,
So he's
and,
associated. He definitely associated with a racist.
and these right-wing groups
Uh-huh.
that he is associated with, you can pick them apart and go to court and say, here you go.
Well, Rev,
The Ronald Green case.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The Ronald Green case. He didn't touch it.
right.
He didn't touch it. State police, he don't prosecute any cops for using brutality against a black person now.
Right.
He did it for this white kid who was killed over there in Rapid Parish.
Rev, our time is winding down. We go up to the 10:30 mark, and I want to put some closing statements, and if people have to get in contact with you, you know, because I appreciate you coming in, but our time go by so fast, when you and I are talking, you know that.
All right, so Reverend Raymond Brown, President of National Action Now,
Right.
partnership with the National Urban League. I have a partnership with Mark Boreal, National Urban League, where I deal with 3 issues: environmental, police accountability, and economic development, job training, job skills. Now, when we say police accountability, all is wrapped in the criminal justice issue. That's the courts. You're dealing with police, you're dealing with courts. That's courts, prisons, etc. Environmental, what's going on with our petrochemical plants and stuff like that all around the country, the environment, water contamination, everything, all of that, building those plants and trying to build a plant in Covent, Louisiana, in Wallace, Louisiana, St. James Parish, all up and down the rivers, everywhere across the United States. I'm working with Mark Boreal on that.
Okay.
And we're doing a marvelous job. Police accountability, Ronald Green case. Mark got me on the Ronald Green case. We did get an indictment, but even though it was watered down, we felt that the pressure from the activists, you and others, pushed it over where John Belsom had to, attorney that parish, John Belsom, had to bring charges against these cops, even though they watered down. And so we're going to continue. As far as the election, Urban League does not participate in political election because they're 501c3. They stay out of that. But they do have a voice when it comes down to racism. And many of these people running are associated with racists. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like he become governor, and they mention my name, he's going to say, oh, no, indeed, he cannot never come up here and see me. No, he was talking about me and laughing. I got calls from all over.
Yeah.
He was on AOC talking about calling me associated with racism.
You're saying Brother Jay said that. Brother Jay said it.
I got it because guess what? No, associated. Associated. So I'm telling you, I said that.
Yes.
And he associated with Donald Trump. You are associated with racist people. Whether you want to believe it or not, I don't care what.
Yeah.
How much money you give Dr. King Meeks.
Yeah. All right, Rev. We're gonna wind it down and hope to see you down the line. Make you a regular guest on this.
Peace and love. My number is 504-906 504-906-6285. My email address is people you at gmail.com.
Okay.
peopleyou@gmail.com.
Okay. We're going to have some replays on this show, and I'm pretty sure they'll hear it again. And we will put it up in the show notes, okay?
Okay. All right.
Reverend. We're going to catch you down the line, and I'll holler at you later.
All right. Peace.
All right. There you go.
Right.
There you go, people. We just got through listening to Reverend Raymond Brown. That time went by so fast. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk TV. We're going to actually close with this piece. You need to hear it. You need to see it.
You might recall we had the attorney out of Louisiana who was talking about the brutal treatment of inmates there at a facility in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It sparked a significant controversy there. The mayor demanded changes, and the black police chief of Baton Rouge, well, he agreed. He actually fired a number of officers. Several others actually resigned. Yet, why has this police chief been pressured to resign by largely white city council members? Folks, we're going to show you the video from the council meeting. And if you want to see a police chief who did not mince any words, watch this.
With all due respect, Chief Paul, I think 7 years you've been with us. 7 years you've been with us. I appreciate the fact of finding the bad actors in this department and everything else. And we talk about trust in the police department and everything. But the buck stops with you. We all know that. You've said that before and so on. And I want these people that perpetrated this and that took people to that place and assaulted these people or whatever that happened or claimed to happen and everything else. But it's a stain on East Baton Rouge Parish. It's a stain on the city of Baton Rouge. It's a stain on the police department. And everyone has to be held accountable. And we can show the public that we're truly investigating internally or whatever.
Hey, we don't want to arrest anybody. Hey, Gary, if you let me do my job, I'm going to do my job. Gentlemen, I know.
I'm trying to say.
You know what you do? So let's talk bucks. I've been quiet for 4.5. I haven't been here 7 years. I'm sorry, Mayor President, but I'm going to speak my heart on this one. Because let's talk about processes. Let me count. Because this is important. 14 police officers were terminated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 resigned under investigation. And then there's appeals. And you know what you do? You strip my funding. Yeah. Are you going to pay the attorney all the money that I already owe them for the bad cops that the Civil Service Board, where we're going to be here tomorrow, and none of y'all going to be here. And y'all sitting here trying to deal off these people's emotions, and some of y'all the problem. Jen Rocker, you sit there, defund the police department's budget from a legal standpoint, and then come here because I don't have legal representation and I got to play lawyer to fight these bad actors. Let's talk facts. Let's talk facts. And then what you do? Then you go and you appoint people to the Civil Service Board that have direct ties to the union. There are 5 people on the Civil Service Board. What's wrong with good law-abiding citizens? You putting people on the Civil Service Board with direct ties to the union and wonder why they reverse the decisions that I make. I've been quiet, but I'm not going to be quiet no more. Where were you when they called my kids gangbangers? Where were you? You know about the pictures when they called my black boys gangbangers, and I prayed for them. When the former chiefs of police sit down and share pictures of me and my girlfriend, and I prayed for them. Where were you, Mocha, when they went to Texas, to the camp, and called me a nigger because I was trying to bring reform in this police department? Where were you then, speaking up for them? Don't sit here and play like you don't know about this group of body that try to force the mayor to sit there and fire me for lies and say I only discipline white folks, which is a lie. Don't pretend like you don't know that. Don't pretend like you don't know that.
It's tight, but it's right.
Talk about my little black kids, and I prayed for y'all. I prayed for them. And you sit here like you different, like you not in cahoots. Because I'm going to tell you what they said. They got 6 of y'all in their pocket. Facts. 6 of y'all in their pocket. That's what the union said. The same union tomorrow, when we have a hearing right here before this body, where I said that the search and seizures were improper and illegal. How many of y'all going to be here tomorrow when the attorneys fight
and say I should not have disciplined that officer. I've been quiet for 5.5 years. But after November the 8th, I'm not going to be quiet no more.
Thank you.
I've been praying for y'all. You think I don't know about the backdoor meetings y'all have with these people and you sit here like you some... Come on now.
Thank you, Chief.
Woo! Joining us right now is activist Gary Chambers. Gary, glad to have you on the show. It is rare to see a police chief who is an employee of the city go off on his employers like that brother did in this video. Clearly, he is fed up. No audio, Gary. I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Roland, for highlighting this conversation that's happening in Baton Rouge. Chief Murphy Paul is a courageous leader, and what he did last week, I think, is the accumulation of frustration from years of serving over a police department that is rogue in many ways, that he's been trying to clean up. He has fired 14 officers. 8 officers have resigned in lieu of termination, and I can't count how many have retired as a result of his leadership. We were pushing last week to make sure that the chief did the job that he's doing right now. We felt that he needed to be more swift on acting on this issue, but, you know, he is the police, and I want to remind people that Murphy Paul and I have had our share of tussles around police accountability, but what you see is a black